All right, so we're back. I have no clue what just happened, but sometimes that happens. We'll have to look at the bugs. Maybe there was too many people. I don't know. There was a ton of people. There was almost 100 people online at the same time, so that might have had something to do with it. I honestly don't know, but we're back, and so sorry for the delay. So to the question that was answered before the technical difficulty, I don't. Hey, you just gotta laugh at some things like that. It was Wisconsin, right?
Um,
Or
Minnesota.
Minnesota. Minnesota, that's right. Minnesota, Wisconsin, all those states pretty much have around the same time as Michigan, because we have the lakes that kind of they keep the land around the lakes much colder in the springtime. That's why our cottage garden, we have to start our stuff so late, because everyone inland. So if you're following us, you could start around the same time because we're right next to the lake. Now, if we lived inland, it'd be a little bit different story. But since we're so close to the lake, definitely you can follow us for when we start our plants. You will not be starting anything anytime soon, I promise. Just be patient. Because one of the big things that oftentimes people run into is they want to start their plants, and if you don't have adequate space to start them, even in a setup like this, I wouldn't recommend it. You're going to have plants that are 1.5 feet tall, fruiting, lanky, but the problem is that even though you have a nice head start, the plants get stressed as they're in a pot. You have to keep potting them up a next size bigger, and you'll eventually run out of space. It's inevitable. So I just start mine in I guess like late February, early March, and you'll be totally fine. You'll be a-okay. So next question, Cindy.
How to control spider mites, get rid of spider mites, and also I think caterpillar.
Ooh,
Um,
good
you know which
question.
one it is?
Spider mites. So I can't see any of the questions coming in because I turned those off because
How to get rid of spider
yeah.
mites is one, and also if there's a good product to prevent green boring caterpillars in zone 9.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to take a little trip through the store here for just a second. I'm going to show you two products that I use all the time for pest infestations that get way out of control. Typically, we have a video called How We Have a Pest-Free Garden by simply planting lots of plants. That is my first method, and it's by far the most effective method. But every once in a while, you'll have a case in which pests will get out of control. And especially with spider mites, you do not want to mess around with them. So I use a product called neem oil. You want to use neem oil in its strongest strength possible because spider mites are very resilient, very annoying. So come with me for just a second. We're going to walk over here, and I'm going to show you exactly what I use. You can actually find it at MIgardener.com. So let's see here. I'm going to turn the camera around. Okay, so we have over here. This is for the chewing caterpillars. Whoops. So this is for the chewing caterpillars, and this is essentially what you're going to use for all of your tomato hornworm, your cabbage loopers, everything like that. It is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. We also use it on our fruit trees for tent caterpillars and things like that. You can actually see that right on the cover there. But yeah, fruit trees, it's wonderful stuff. It's amazing, and it is all organic. It's just a bacteria that will get inside of the worms, and bad things happen. So there's that. That's what I use. And then also the neem oil, which is somewhere. Right here. So we're just in the process of reorganizing the store. So this is what I use. This is neem oil. This is wonderful stuff for the spider mites, and really a lot of things. Also, you can use it for fungus gnats. You can use it for white flies. This is just really good stuff. It does not kill like your cabbage loopers. It does not kill your tomato hornworms. But as far as like little tiny pests that rain a lot of damage, this stuff's the go-to. That's the go-to ticket right there. So I prefer that.
And would that help with spider mites in a worm farm?
Spider mites on a worm farm. You probably do not have spider mites in a worm farm. If you have a worm farm, they're most likely compost mites. They're totally safe. It just means that you have too much food and too much moisture. lay back on the food to about a pound of food per 1,000 worms a week, and also lay off the moisture, and your compost mites will go away. They're not hurting whatsoever. They're creepy crawlies that come around when you got more food than your worms can compost. So you most likely do not. There's no spider mites that you'll find in compost. Just it won't happen. They don't like that type of stuff. So next question.
Someone asked, how do we get rid of the mold in our basement? I don't think we ever had mold.
Yeah, well, we maybe post in the comments box. We did not have mold in the basement. Our basement is amazingly dry. Now, you might have been talking about the mold on the beds here, and if that's the case, if you're talking about the mold on the beds, the mold was caused because it was actually good. There's good mold and there's bad mold. We applied mycorrhiza fungi to this growing medium here. However, we kept it too damp, and so the mycorrhiza was actually able to rise to the surface, and it created a very white mold over the top. That's because we added it. However, if you have not added it and you see white mold, it's the same. It's bad mold, and it's because it's too damp. Both are caused because it's too damp. So all you have to do is just dial back on the watering, let the soil dry out. I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about, actually. So you want the soil to always be just slightly dry. So you can see here, this top of the soil is dry here. We just watered, so it does take a little while for the plant to absorb it and then to dry out. But you can see here, the top of the soil is dry, and that dryness will not allow mold and fungus to breed. If you're seeing it, just put a fan over top, or get some really good ventilation, or just dial back on the watering, and you're going to do fine. But I mean, look at these plants. They're amazing. Every time I see them, I'm amazed at how well they're doing. So, oh my gosh, I love that. Oh, that is so amazing. Look at that. Gorgeous. Next, yeah, you can just keep firing away. I'm just.
What type of plants grow in cold climates? Platy Boy from the Netherlands.
Okay, so which type of plants grow in cold weather climates? That's, to be honest, it's a little too broad for this live stream because I could literally do a whole video on cold weather plants. But if you're in the Netherlands, I would typically say, I've never been to the Netherlands. I would love to go to the Netherlands, though. I think it's probably a bit colder than here in Michigan. Your seasons are probably quite a bit shorter. So I would not grow something like a beefsteak tomato. Try something like a cherry tomato. In fact, we actually have in the store, we're going to take another little tour over to the store here to our, I always have to duck because, man, I'm 6'3". They did not make houses like they used to. So in the dark corner of, we are getting more lights, by the way, too. In the dark corner of our tomato alley here, we have something called the Chadwick Cherry. The Chadwick Cherry is a wonderful variety. It is so fast maturing. It is great for cold weather, for shorter climates. A+ there. Other things that I'd recommend trying are, you got broccoli. So Waltham 29 broccoli is a really good one. We also have purple broccoli and some spring rapini broccoli. It's like kind of like a sprouting broccoli. Really good varieties for cold weather. But I mean, you got some other things like, cabbage and beans, carrots, cauliflower, broccoli, like I said, beets, Swiss chard, kale, just things like that. You want to stick away from corn. The big ones that I'd stick away from are corn, peppers, and large tomatoes. Depending on how short your season is, it might exclude all tomatoes in general. But again, I've never been to the Netherlands, so I can't speak for all tomatoes. But what I can say is you can certainly get off the desire to plant larger tomatoes, because I don't think it's going to happen.
When do you know when to up pot?
Up pot. Okay, very good question. It's not that I don't want to answer your question now. It's just that I feel it's better suited for our Back to Basics series that we're filming. So for everyone that's watching this, let us all know in the comments box below how excited you are for this series, because it's something we're definitely going to do. We just don't know how many episodes we're going to do in the series, and it's essentially back to basics. It is the very basics. We're going to cover everything from transplanting, when to transplant, growing mediums, fertilizing indoors, lights, things like that, watering your plants. I mean, really basic stuff that people often really overlook and just they overcomplicate, and that's where they find the most failure. We actually have a video on when to up pot already kind of planned, but you know what? I'll just tell you right now, just in case you're already at that stage, because I know there are some people seed starting. If you're in a pot, if you're looking at your pot and you tip it upside down, if you have the right type of pot with drainage holes, you should notice at the time that it's time to up pot, there's going to be roots beginning to coil. The whole point of up potting is preventing what we call being pot bound or root bound, and that is where the roots get very coiled up and they essentially have muscle memory to just keep going around in a circle. Meaning, if you get them too pot bound, no matter where you transplant them, they'll continue going around in a circle, and it stresses the plant out. So what we like to do is just as soon as you start to see roots starting to come through the holes in the bottom of the pot, assuming you have those, that's a good idea to get pots with that. It allows water to drain through, prevents mold, prevents root rot, and you can also see those roots, which for a gardener like me, it's so crucial. And so that's why we have a video about it. Selecting the right pots for seed starting is one of our videos as well in our Back to Basics series. So we're going to be doing that, but let us all know if that sounds like a fun idea and maybe some ideas that you have for the series, because we really just want to bring people kind of, back to the basics, because there are so many people that overcomplicate this idea of gardening, and it really is very simple. And I think that as a beginning gardener, you're way more likely to overcomplicate something, because once you've done it, you're like, wasn't as bad as I thought. So it's all like getting a shot at a doctor's. I mean, you freak out, and then when it's done, it's like, oh, it wasn't that bad. So don't stress, don't overcomplicate it, and you'll be way better off. So next question. Let's just fire through these things. This is going over so well. I really appreciate this, and I know I said like 10 to 15 minutes, but we'll do only 5 minutes more because I gotta get some dinner on. I am starving. So
Geneva can wake up any moment.
So and Geneva might wake up at any moment too. So she's being graceful by letting us do this.
Katie asked, what kind of garden plants would grow well in the shade in Michigan? And Christy asked if bulk trifecta is in stock, which I said no to, but would you let me put some in stock?
Okay, so a lot of questions. Okay, so
shade-loving plants.
Shade-loving plants in Michigan. Bulk box. Not in stock. Yes, we can put the bulk box in stock. I'm mixing more tomorrow, weather permitting. As many of you know, I mix everything by hand to ensure the quality is what I would prefer to go into my garden, and so that way I'm pleased with what you guys are getting. So weather permitting, I'll be mixing up more trifecta tomorrow. We can go ahead and put some in stock right now if you want. And thank you all for your support, by the way. We have just been absolutely slam-packed. I mean, this is nuts. This whole pile of boxes and things, that's all trifecta. It's all trifecta going to different places in the globe, and it really does mean a lot to see your support. I mean, it also is a testament to just how amazing this stuff is. So yes, we'll put some more in. Thank you for your support. I really appreciate it, and definitely keep us posted on how the garden grows with it. So now onto the question of shade-loving plants. So we are actually in the process of creating a shade-loving kit as well as a category on the store called shade-loving plants. What you want to stick to are herbs, and we actually have a video. Oh, I almost forgot. We have a video called 5 shade-loving plants everyone must grow, or everyone can grow, or everyone should grow. You'll be able to find it, I promise. And Cindy might even be able to pull it up and pop it in the comments box in that video. It is a wonderful, wonderful video that will get you growing more food, because oftentimes people exclude areas of shade underneath trees and things like that. But the whole idea of permaculture, you can, even if you don't grow 100% permaculturally, I guess that's a word. If it's not, I just made it up. If you don't grow 100% permaculturally, you can still incorporate ideas of permaculture into your garden to increase the output and the success of it. So a lot of your herbs, like thyme and oregano and parsley, things like that, they don't like that really harsh sun. Lettuce, if you want to grow it through the summer, plant it under a tree. People oftentimes think lettuce is a no-go in the summertime. Well, it is if you plant it in the hot, hot sun, but if you plant it in a place where it's going to get shade for most of the day and then maybe a few hours of sun, it's going to do wonderful. So those are things that you can incorporate, and we're definitely going to touch more on in the summertime when it comes summertime, hopefully, if it ever comes. This winter has just been dragging along, but when it comes along, we're definitely going to film some videos, more videos on that, because I think it's so important. Another thing that's really awesome, we have a ton in the store that is wonderful shade-loving plants, but you have also things like purslane. Purslane is something that not a lot of people see as a worthwhile thing to grow, but it is super high in omega-3s and omega-6s, which is really good for the brain and nails, things like that. And so you can add it to salads, you can add it to stir fries, you can put it into smoothies. It's wonderful. It's citrusy, it's succulent, and it grows amazing in the shade. It actually doesn't like the hot sun, and so yeah, those are some things you can definitely grow. And did you find that video, honey? For the 5 shade-loving plants.
No. I'll link it in a bit.
Okay, cool. No worries. Not a problem. One more more questions?
Let's see. Someone asked
This is
if we carry
fun.
watermelon radish. I said yes.
Do we carry watermelon radish? Absolutely. I'll take you over to go check it out. So, duck again. I've hit my head twice, and I learn very quickly. Watermelon radish. It is a wonderful, wonderful one to grow. It not only looks great in salads, but it's just adding different colors. I think oftentimes people they don't grow enough foods of color, and it's just such an awesome one to be growing because it's white on the outside, or kind of whitish green on the outside and red on the inside, and it's a fantastic one. It's not as peppery, it's sweeter, it's crisper, it's large, and what we like to do is we like to take it on a mandolin slicer, and maybe Cindy, you should tell them how you prepare it when we make tacos. It is really, really, really good. So how do you prepare it?
I just thinly slice them with a mandolin slicer and squeeze some lime juice and put salt. It's good.
Trust me, it's good. It's really good. So yeah, I mean, a little lime, sea salt, and mandolin slice it. It is fantastic. So.
And also, someone asked, they want to do some like trellis, some plants, like what would be nice. It's a 6-foot chain link fence for their kids to pick.
Okay.
So vine plants. I suggested Malabar spinach.
Yes. Okay. So
else?
are they? So they're asking for vining plants would go good on a fence. Okay. So wonderful question. Fences are an amazing way to utilize vertical space. Not enough people are doing it, and it's certainly a way that you can maximize your production without using up a lot more of your space. So we have a bunch of cool ones in the cucumber category. So if you want to, well, you don't have a choice. You're coming with me. So all of your cucumbers, we have so many varieties of cucumbers. All your cucumbers will be wonderful on a fence. Just make sure that whoever's on the other side of the fence, wants to hand you over some every once in a while. Because sometimes the cucumber ends up on the other side, and if it's a neighbor you don't like, you're not getting that cucumber back. Another one that we have to go back into the dark alley for is Malabar spinach. Actually, no, we don't. It's spinach. Malabar spinach is not a true spinach variety, but we have a rare red Malabar, super, super rare red Malabar spinach, and a lesser but still very unique and hard to find green Malabar spinach. Now those two varieties are actually, they grow almost exactly like spinach does, only in a vine, and they're delicious, delicious, delicious. They grow all summer long, so they don't bolt, they don't, they don't taste bitter at all. They taste just like spinach, and they're awesome if you're looking for growing greens long term. So definitely worth that. And then the final one that we have right off the top of my head that I know is a Blue Lake. Actually, two. We have two here. This is a Scarlet Runner pole bean. Any of your pole beans will be wonderful. They grow really nice and tall, have nice, beautiful red flowers, and the beans are obviously edible and delicious. But the one that I had in mind when I came over here was almost dropped it. Blue Lake pole bean. Blue Lake pole bean is a productive bean. It does wonderful on fences, trellising in general, because if you don't trellis a pole bean, you're in for some trouble, I'll tell you what. I grew pole beans one time without knowing, and let me tell you, it was a vining mess when we went up to the cottage, because as you know, if you've been watching this channel for a while, the cottage garden sometimes gets slightly neglected if we're gone for a few weeks, and so we planted pole beans not knowing they were pole beans, and because when they're all small, they all look the same until, you know, a few weeks down the line when they start doing their poling action, and they just started going all over the place, and we had to just rip them out and restart because it was a jungle of chaos. The very last one that I wanted to mention are peas. I totally forgot about peas, but peas are a great one because you don't want stuff that goes too high, because obviously, like you said, your fence is about 6 feet tall, and some of your beans you might have to kind of clip the top off or reroute them along the side of the fence, because they obviously are going to get a little taller than 6 feet. But, I mean, we got Lincoln peas. Well, actually, we're out of Lincoln peas. Really hot seller, by the way. We have more Lincoln peas on the way. So Lincoln peas we had sold out, but we have Mammoth Snow Melting. We have Oregon Giant. We have Blue Shelling. This is a wonderful variety, and not enough people are giving it a shot. Try this bean, or try this pea. It is a wonderful, wonderful pea. It's so cool. You don't want to cook it because otherwise it'll turn green, but in salads, it's blue. It is like purpley blue, and it's super cool. So that is those are all ones that'll grow awesome on a trellis. Any more questions coming through?
Yes, we do have
Tons more. Sorry if we can't get to all your questions. We'll definitely try to answer as many as humanly possible. So here's what we're gonna do. Okay, so because I did not expect this, and because we're Geneva's been just a blessing right now, we're gonna answer quick questions, and we're gonna rapid fire through them. So I'm not gonna talk as much, because I could talk for hours and not get old, because I love talking about gardening.
Oh, okay. Sorry, Kevin. We did not mean to ignore you. Does anybody know of organic hydroponic nutrients?
No, there's no such thing as organic hydroponic nutrients unless you're growing aquaponically. Aquaponics are the only form of organic hydroponics, but that also includes fish. So you have to, we do have a video on a hybrid system if you're interested. It worked out wonderfully. It's been extremely popular, and it's been featured on a lot of huge channels. They've asked to borrow the video because it was actually really revolutionary for the time, where you can have goldfish in the bottom and plants on the top, and they grow really well together. So check out that video. It's the only form of organic hydroponics there is, just unfortunately. Next one. Let's answer as many as humanly possible in like a minute or two.
Would those spinaches survive if placed in a pot by a fence or trellis?
Depends on how big the pot is. Again, we're doing really quick questions, so these are rapid fire lightning rounds. So it depends on how big the pot is. Make sure your pot is over 6 inches in diameter. You should be fine. I prefer, if I'm doing like a long-term grow, make sure it's over 1.5 gallons. So you should be good.
And is it Malabar spinach better in the tropics?
Well, it is a tropical plant, but it grows wonderfly here. You don't have to have, Malabar spinach grows almost perennially in the tropics because it's a hot-loving plant. It's a vining plant, but you can grow it here in Michigan, and it grows wonderfully. You just have to understand that when the cold weather comes, it's going to die because it's not cold hardy. That's the thing. Regular spinach is very cold hardy. Malabar spinach, we grow it in the summertime because that's when cold hardy spinach doesn't do well. So what we like to do is grow both of them, but time them out so we never have a dull moment when it comes to spinach.
How do you get notified of the next live video in the channel?
Okay, so we get asked this a lot. Live videos pop up, they're very first on the subscription box. Live videos are in the first section. But if you want to get notified, there's a bell. Don't ask me why. Email YouTube. I've been doing it for months. It's the dumbest thing ever. But there's a little bell next to the subscribe button. Apparently, if you've subscribed to our channel, you need to click that bell in order to be notified. Don't ask me why. I feel like if you subscribe, you should be notified anyways. But we're not going to talk about that right now because we're in lightning round. We'll save that for a rant. So just click that bell, and anytime we're live, you should get a notification at the very top that should pop up in a push notification. So,
but like notified ahead of time. Well,
we'll notify ahead of time.
We don't have a set schedule.
We don't have a set schedule, exactly. We're very spontaneous people, and we'll try it. We will definitely try. Like right now, we were in the process of kind of just wrapping up work, and I said, you know what, let's give this a shot, because I was going to film a video about damping off, and I thought, you know, I've got this live stream, I might as well give it a shot and see how people really like it, because I want to know how you all like it. So let us know in the comments box below if you like it, because that's...
Homer asks, Luke, so if you're stuck in an island with 3 vegetables, would you grow?
Ooh, high productivity and high nutrients. So I would pick a tomato, a bush bean, and tomato, bush bean, and a vining squash, like a Waltham butternut squash. Really high productivity and very nutritious for you. Oops.
Does Malabar grow in the shade?
There we go. No. Well, it doesn't grow in the shade, but it will grow with about 4 to 5 hours of sun. So some people consider that shade. It's more or less called partial sun. So partial shade, yes. Full shade, absolutely not. No, it needs at least 4 hours of sun, preferably 5 hours of sun. If you can give it even more than that, you're going to do better.
How often do you use diatomaceous earth?
When we have a problem in the garden, once a week. That's only if we have a problem. We typically use it on like flea beetles when it comes to our potatoes, because they riddle our potatoes full of holes. And so we don't want our potatoes, when we bring guests up, to look like someone took a shotgun to the leaves. So we'll dust them down with diatomaceous earth once a week. Typically takes care of the problem within 2 or 3 weeks. And so yeah, you don't want to use it a whole lot longer than that, because it can be dangerous to honeybees and other things like that. There's an urban legend out there that it harms earthworms. It's totally bogus. Don't believe it. Diatomaceous earth does not hurt earthworms. In fact, they will sometimes use diatomaceous earth in worm bins, in like commercial worm bins, to keep down that mite problem that we talked about earlier, because mites are also affected by diatomaceous earth. Any hard-bodied insect will be affected. And the last time I checked, worms don't have hard bodies, do they? So, let's do two more.
How many more worm casting? How much worm casting per square foot?
In a outdoors garden, I typically apply about a pound of worm castings to 5 square feet. A little bit goes a very long way. And what I use it for is not for the nutrients. I don't use it for the soil amending properties, because there's just not a whole lot of it to go around. What I use it for is the beneficial bacteria. Worm castings are 10 times higher in beneficial bacteria than compost. So if you apply a little bit, they'll go a very long way. And what that beneficial bacteria does is it attaches to the root systems, and it will actually trade the plant for nutrients, for minerals in the soil. And some agronomist is like a farmer. It's like a farmer/scientist. It's a field scientist, let's put it that way. They say that up to 80% of the nitrogen fixed to plants actually comes from beneficial fungi and bacteria. So having those two in the soil is super, super important. And I cannot say it enough how important it is to have it in the soil. So that's why we use it. But it's definitely wonderful to have.
And lastly,
last question.
I don't know, there's 2 questions. What do you do for slugs?
We'll answer both of them then. Answer both of them.
And would you recommend growing in metal filing cabinets? If so, which plants?
Okay, so, whoa.
So, first one, what would you do for the slugs and snails? Like, what do you do to treat them, I guess?
Slugs and snails, I apply sand around the base. Sand does not dry out as much as like eggshells do. Eggshells don't really work as much as people say they do. And also what you can do is you can get something called Slug Go. It's an organic product that when they eat it, they essentially just fizzle to death. So I prefer sand because it's pretty much free up at the cottage. And we just put sand around the base of the plant, a good 6 to 7 inches in radius or in diameter, circumference. Yeah, 6 inches out from the base of the plant. It's getting late. Diameter. That's what I was looking for.
And last question. We have someone that's interested in growing some plants in a metal filing cabinet.
Ooh, very cool.
Would you recommend doing that? And if so, which plant?
Well, metal filing cabinets, it seems like a cool idea. I've never tried it. And I would say, yeah, go for it. Just make sure that they're pulled, because just make sure they're pulled out far enough to where they can kind of stair step. I think that's the look you're probably going for. But really any plant, I think most file cabinets, I mean, ours over here is like, well, 8 to 10 inches deep. So you're probably going to be fine with most anything. Just make sure that what you're growing doesn't take up a whole lot of space. Like, don't grow potatoes in it, obviously, but tomatoes might even be pushing it. But you could grow, I mean, really anything that trails really nicely. You could grow beans, pole beans, and instead of trellising them up, they'll kind of drape down like a waterfall. Or cucumbers would be awesome as well. Flowers are a great option. So yeah, I mean, the options are limitless, and go for it.
They don't have drawers on their backs.
Oh, good idea. Now that makes a lot more sense. So I kind of thought you were doing it like a stair step idea, kind of like a vertical gardening system. But you can definitely grow it. Okay, so now I totally see what you're talking about. So you're thinking about laying it on the ground, taking out the drawers, and making it like a raised bed. Very smart. Anything will do very well now, because now you got lots of space. I mean, ours over there, it's probably like almost like 1.5 feet. It would be like 1.5 feet deep on its side, on its back. So you could really grow just about anything. You could probably even try some potatoes and get some pretty good success. So do what you want. That's the nice thing about gardening is there's, you know, if you grow something and it doesn't grow and it doesn't do as well, well then you found out that it didn't do as well. But if you find out that it does well, well then you've made a good choice. But the worst thing that could happen in a garden is that you learn something, and I think that's what's so fun about gardening is that, you know, well, it might rust, but it's not going to hurt your plants at all. Most filing cabinets they're not like rust proof. I mean, most file cabinets I've seen get rusty after a while, but rust just adds extra iron to the soil, and your plants use iron anyway. So trust me, I think you're going to be totally fine. I would not worry about it whatsoever. Just make sure that if it's painted, make sure to maybe take some, and I don't think the inside of file cabinets are painted, but if it is painted, make sure just to take like some steel wool and scrape off any of that paint, because you definitely don't want paint chips in your soil, because those are not good, I can guarantee you. So that's all the questions we have time for today. I definitely thank you all for tuning in for this live stream. I wish I would have shown more of the plants, by the way, because I'll tell you what, every single time I come down here, I check out these plants. They are fun to watch. They seem to grow by the day, and it's just been a wonderful thing to get my hands dirty in the soil, enjoy this wonderful blessing. You know, we're blessed with a lot of space in this basement, and so I absolutely love growing these plants. I love seeing things growing. It's therapeutic for me, and I say all the time, you know, it's the tiniest things that make me the happiest. I mean, just seeing these plants grow indoors when there's 4 or 5 inches of snow and it's, you know, negative 10 degrees outside, and spring is not for another 6 or so weeks. It's just so nice to come down here and be like, oh, I got some nice lettuce growing, and then in a few more weeks we're gonna be doing a harvest video, so that's gonna be even more fun. So I wish I could show a lot more of this, and I definitely will be doing a lot more. But again, let us know in the comments box below about the Back to Basics series. I'm relying on all of you to, number one, come up with content ideas. We have quite a few ideas, but we definitely want to hear what you have to say about it. Also, let us know if you have any ideas for things you'd like to see about indoor gardening. We've done a lot of indoor gardening videos, and I definitely want to keep this series going because this is a 100% organic indoor garden, something that I definitely think a lot of people find interest in, and it's a little more easily done than hydroponics, and it's a lot more easy than aquaponics. So I'm all for it. I love it, and I'm just having a blast. So, all right, hey, we will talk to you all later. This is Luke from the MIgardener channel, reminding you to grow big or go home. Make sure to check out our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that good stuff. We just really want to stress that we're out there for you all to check us out. We provide unique information on all our social media sites, and we really like to interact with you over there as well. So go check us out over there. Make sure also to check us out at MIgardener.com, where we have blog posts and lots of cool stuff like that. We also have our seed store and, our store in general, which has over 300 varieties of heirloom, organic, and non-GMO seeds. It's worth checking out. So, all right, hey, I appreciate all you turning out for this live stream. Let us know if you like it, because we'll be doing a lot more of these, especially once the gardening season starts. So, talk to you later. See ya. Bye.